Well, we are here. Star Trek Season 5. I said it again. Star Trek Season 5, the only Star Trek show. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 19. It can finally legally drink. Season 5 can legally drink. Well, at least in Canada.
Captain's log, stardate 45703.9. We are en route to Earth.
Oh.
Do you know Admiral Brand?
We've met a few times. She's a formidable woman.
Uh-oh.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Sir, we are being hailed again by the
Too
Academy.
bad. Plot.
On screen.
Sir, she is requesting a private channel.
In my ready room.
Must have been a bad camera. Or a bad film reel. I don't know.
I know you're a close friend of the Crusher family.
Yes.
I wanted to inform you personally. There's been an accident.
Jack Crusher is dead. Yes, I know. I delivered his body.
I was there when he died.
That was 15 years ago.
Well, I'm sure the credits will let us know if Wesley's going to be in the episode before we see him. But it's like, I don't think they would kill him off. That'd be kind of weird. Just like kill off any potential of him coming back. Oh, slowing down.
He had second-degree burns of the chest and multiple fractures of his right arm, but he's going to be fine.
Oh, okay.
They were flying a close formation. There was a collision. All 5 ships were destroyed. 4 of the cadets were able to transport out. 1 didn't make it.
Oh, man.
Yes, his name was Joshua Albert.
Wesley spoke of him. They were friends.
Oh.
Beverly, Wesley's alive and he's well.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh. Always got to have the San Francisco Bridge included somehow.
There was very little to salvage from the wreckage.
Back up.
Is this Colby?
I'm sure that everyone in this room joins me
Oh, it's
in
that guy.
expressing my deepest sympathies to you on the tragic loss of your son.
Uh-oh.
This is like the same room from The Outcast, just rearranged.
Got to reuse those sets?
The cadet should know that even after a tragedy like this, there are still duties to perform, and life continues.
Damn. Rough but true.
Rough wording to put life continues when talking about a dead kid.
Oh, yeah, those great uniforms again.
Amazing uniforms. Can't find them anywhere on Amazon or eBay.
What do you look up? Wesley uniform from one episode. I guess maybe cadet uniform?
Yeah, or Star Trek black uniform. Just hoping it would pop up.
We were very sorry to hear about Joshua.
Would you like to talk about it?
No, I don't think so. No, thank you.
Interesting, this is already the second time he's come back this season.
Good point.
This is my squadron leader, Nicholas Locarno. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Enterprise. My mother, Dr. Beverly Crusher.
Hello, Doctor.
Is one of the other survivors?
Think so.
And how are you feeling, Nicholas?
Oh, I'm okay. I just never lost anyone under my command before.
I'm afraid that never gets easier.
Look at their rank insignia.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. That's nice.
I think it's like how many years they've been there or something?
I don't know.
Because this would be Wesley's second year. Super senior has 5 pips.
You ready?
I think so.
Don't worry about it, Wes. Everything's gonna be all right, as long as we stick together.
Ooh.
What? Yeah. What's
Something we don't know.
Yeah. What's going on there?
They killed him on purpose. Josh was in my way. We had to take him out.
Can't you see that's a flower bed?
Sorry. Really sorry.
Remind you of someone, Picard? Oh wait, didn't Picard say he was best friends with like the gardener or something?
Yeah, that's probably him. Is that the tree where the initials are carved in?
Boothby.
Yeah, Boothby. Yeah, that was his name.
Jean-Luc Picard, class of 27.
I know that. What happened to your hair?
How are you?
I'm pretty damn cranky, thank you. Captain Picard. Of the Enterprise, no
Oh, I
less.
was proud of him.
Nothing you ever did surprised me, son. Except that time you caught that Ligonian with a reverse body lift. And pinned him in the first 14 seconds of the match.
Wait, Picard was a worker? He was a shooter? Holy shit.
I don't think I ever told you how much I appreciate.
There's nothing to tell.
He's like, I ain't about that.
I just wanted to.
No wonder Picard likes him. He's just like his brother.
Yeah, very similar.
You know as well as I do, I would never have graduated if you
made a mistake.
Oh.
At the time, I thought you were a mean-spirited, vicious old man.
I was. And by the way, I was about the same age you are now. Josh Albert? Yeah. Crusher? Lazar, Cito, Locarno, I know them all.
And this gardener's really involved.
He's probably one of those people that remembers everyone he meets.
Whatever happens, I want you all to know that leading this team has been the high point of my years at the Academy. No one could have asked for a better team.
This would be a good opportunity to bring back Mordok.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
We had less than 2 seconds to activate our emergency transporters and beam to the evac stations at Mimas. Everyone made it except Josh.
Oh man, they're gonna cross-examine these kids.
I mean, there was a death, you know.
Yeah.
So you gotta know what happened.
Did Nova Squadron deviate from that flight plan after you entered the Saturn range?
Why do I feel like they're gonna go through all of them, and then when they get to Wesley, he's gonna be the one that like breaks?
We had discussed changing our approach after I filed the flight plan. I didn't consider it significant enough to mention
Is he
here.
the same race as Ensign Rowe?
It looks like it.
You were in the tail position, therefore you should have seen any sign of trouble from Cadet Albert. And you saw nothing?
That is correct, sir.
They're covering up something.
I am very disturbed by what I have heard here today. By your own admission, you allowed your teammate to fly when you knew he was having difficulties maintaining formation. That demonstrates a serious lack of
Oh
judgment.
man, that look from Picard.
We should have the first data from Mr. Crusher's flight recorder tonight. We will reconvene at 1300 hours tomorrow.
Picard's upset with any court sitting he can't jump in.
Wesley didn't even have to talk.
They knew he would fold.
Everything's fine. Trust me.
Okay, I killed him. I did it. Wesley, no, you didn't kill him.
I pulled out my phaser and shot him. None of you had phasers.
It'd be impossible to shoot your phaser through the ships, whatever.
And the Academy has one of the best reconstructive analysis labs in Starfleet. I'm not sure there's much we could contribute to.
Picard's doing his own side investigation.
I've spoken with Admiral Brand, and she's agreed to allow us access to all of the physical evidence and testimony.
Little matter of perspective. Little holodeck working.
Everything I said was the truth.
The accident was not Josh's fault.
It was my friend too, Wes.
It's probably this guy's fault.
Yeah.
None of us has wanted to say it out loud, but we've all had the same thought, haven't we?
He must have pulled away too soon. I think he got scared.
Oh, maybe they don't even know.
Maybe. Maybe she's the same species as,
Bajora, I think it was called, or Bajoran.
yeah, or David's species from Symbiosis.
Yeah,
They had a nose divot.
yeah, I hope it's not that, though.
We were gonna be a team for a long time. Josh can't be a part of those plans anymore. But I think he would still want us to be a team.
Now, Wesley, I know you knew all that information, but now the audience knows. I never would have thought, like, oh, we'll give you an episode at Starfleet Academy. They're all being tried for murder. It's like, oh, okay.
Kind of dig it.
I realize it was his fault, that everybody could have been killed. I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he let you down.
Damn.
Are you ready, Mr. Crusher?
Well, now he's definitely not gonna keep with this story.
Yep. Come on, Vulcan, get that emotion out of your face.
Yeah, he's got the ugliest Vulcan I've ever seen.
I tried to veer away, but it was too late, and I was hit. A power coupling exploded in my cockpit.
You have anything to add to your testimony?
No, sir.
Oh, God.
These images were obtained from a navigation control
damn.
satellite in orbit around Saturn during a standard sensor sweep.
Oh.
All right, bro, if he already had this evidence, why? It's like,
I want to see that you guys lied.
Are these ships in a diamond slot formation?
No, sir.
What is your explanation?
I have none, sir.
Oh.
man.
Is Wesley the only one that's going to take the fall?
Well, there must be some explanation for this.
AI.
I know you're telling the truth, but the satellite data made it look as if you were lying.
I lied!
I'm not going to let them ruin your career, Wesley. You haven't done anything wrong.
Please stay out of this.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's like, don't ruin your career.
Boothby, you have to testify.
You could use a good herbicide instead of pulling the weeds with your bare hands.
And you could explore space on a holodeck instead of a starship.
Oh.
Woo!
Tell me some more about Nova Squadron.
Not going well, is it?
No, it isn't.
You remember the Parisi Squares tournament of 24?
That's the only game anyone plays.
But Nick Locarno, he watches out for them. He keeps them together. Nick is what makes that team special.
Oh.
The members of that team love him. If he asks them to do something, they do it. Even if it means going right over a cliff.
There you go.
So he messed up somehow, and they're all covering for him.
Yeah, or they just listen to him like, hey, lie for me. or lie for us. Okay. I mean, it wasn't that simple, but they lied because of him.
Is there any other reason for opening the valve?
It's the first step in purging the plasma exhaust.
That procedure would be extremely hazardous while the ship was in flight.
Yeah, the engine would probably ignite the plasma.
Ignite the plasma. That's exactly what they were trying to do.
Of course, Picard figures it out.
Where's Michael Dorn? He hasn't been in this episode at all.
When did you join the Enterprise?
Captain?
Can you tell me what this maneuver is?
Oh, no.
What the hell?
It's a Colvard starburst, sir.
It opens a portal to another dimension.
It's one of the most spectacular and difficult demonstrations in precision flying.
Oh, boy.
It hasn't been performed at the Academy for over 100 years. Do you know why?
It was banned by the Academy following a training accident, sir.
Accident in which all 5 cadets lost their lives.
Oh, jeez. Ego's got a bit high there, guys, huh?
Yeah, they're trying to show off.
I think that Nicholas Locarno, that he convinced the 4 of you to learn the Colvard starburst. If it worked, it would thrill the assembled guests. Locarno would graduate as a living legend, and Joshua Albert paid the price.
Damn.
Jeez.
Cadet, I asked you a question. Am I correct?
I choose not to answer, sir.
Oh!
That's it.
Choose not to answer.
That's the answer.
That's not the right answer, though, bro. Not the Picard. Oh, I'm like scared for him.
I was convinced you could be an outstanding officer, and I never questioned that conviction. Until now.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
I'm gonna make this simple for you, Mr. Crusher. Either you come forward and tell Admiral Brand what really took place, or I will.
Captain.
Dismissed!
Man, he roasted him all the way back to low quality. That was tough to watch. I can't imagine Picard yelling at me. I think I'd die.
You just literally physically melt in his office.
They know what we did.
Calm down. Calm down. Now tell me exactly what happened.
You might be suave, but you're no Picard or you're no Kirk. You're cooked.
So let him tell the inquiry what he thinks happened. They'll ask us, is it true? We'll say no, sir. There's no evidence, so there's no case. We'll get off with a reprimand.
It's like now they are straight up lying.
Yeah.
We're gonna decide what happens to me, to Cito, to Jean. You're gonna decide that?
I'm not gonna lie to them again, Nick.
Hope this doesn't end up like that scene from Barry.
He got to you, didn't he? Picard told you some big story about duty and honor. Well, it must have been a pretty good speech to make you turn your back on your friends.
Oh, it's Picard, man.
Then resign your appointment to the Academy and walk away. Don't make us pay for your guilty conscience.
You'd let me do that? Just to save your neck?
To save the team. That's more important than you. And it's more important than me. And if I were in your place, I'd do it.
Oh, easy for you to say.
What are you gonna do, kid?
Your unwillingness to offer any explanation for this contradiction is disappointing and raises suspicion.
Just imagining Picard just staring down Wesley. Are you gonna do it?
I'm ordering a formal reprimand placed on each of your permanent records.
Not the permanent record.
This inquiry is closed.
Sir?
I already rang the bell.
You already rang? Yep, it's over.
We performed a loop and afterwards broke formation and attempted a Colvard starburst. We knew it was prohibited. We knew it was dangerous.
You are the leader of Nova Squadron. Do you have anything to say, Mr. Locarno?
No, sir.
Coward.
He couldn't spin it to make himself look good? No, too late. Oh, look, a liar is sitting down.
Mr. Locarno has been expelled.
Oh, jeez.
Only him?
They should have expelled all of us.
They very nearly did. Mr. Locarno made an impassioned plea for the rest of you. He said that he'd used his influence as squadron leader to convince you to attempt the Colvard maneuver, and then to cover up the truth.
Oh, okay. Off-screen redemption.
In addition to a formal reprimand, your academic credits for the past year will be cancelled, and you will not advance with your class.
Oh!
Super sophomore.
Thank you, Captain.
You knew what you had to do. I just made sure that you listened to yourself.
Just like the gardener did for him. I wonder if what Picard did was as fucked up as Wesley.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Picard did. Oh, there you go!
Flag at half-mast. Did you notice that? Because of the kid who died?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I think it was like that at the beginning of the episode, too.
Come on. What you got?
Shut up. Oh, wait, you're already done? All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1. I gave it an S.
Oh, I gave it an A. Okay.
But I can understand that grade for sure. I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay. Do you like my Search for Spock book?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the episode?
Sure. But you know what I noticed? I didn't even realize until after we recorded the episode. I'm wearing my Starfleet Academy shirt. What are the odds? How about that?
Nice, nice.
So I think you and I have been asking for a Starfleet Academy-esque episode for a bit in some fashion. And not only was it a Starfleet Academy episode, it was a Starfleet Academy Goes to Court episode.
Yeah, all the way back to Coming of Age in Season 1, where I said something along the lines of, oh, I would love to just have a whole separate mini show about Wesley at Starfleet Academy. And now he actually is at Starfleet Academy. He went. And this is kind of, I guess, an episode of what that would be, but guest starring some of our main characters, Picard, Beverly. The rest of our main crew have just 1 or 2 scenes each in the episode, like Riker, Troy, and Worf are all only in the opening scene on the bridge, and then Geordi and Data get some extra scenes. But this was really a Wesley-driven story, and written by Ronald Moore, and I thought it was great. I gave it an S. I did contemplate it, and usually I err on the side of if I have to think about it, it's not an S. But this time I fell on the other side of the fence of if I'm sitting there looking for why it wouldn't be, then I think it is an S. Because I gave it good thought, and I think the only thing that was holding me back was like, oh, this is like a Wesley episode at Starfleet Academy. Like, is this really like one of my personal favorites? And I'm like, thinking through the episode, I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, I loved everything in this episode. It's different. It's unique. A court episode done in a different way. Twists and turns I didn't see coming. All the performances were great. A lot to jump in here. I'm excited. But you also gave it a really good grade of an A.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with any of that. And not only that, we got a huge callback to Boothby, being in the flesh. That was amazing to see. And also callbacks to the first episode of Counter at Farpoint, which I just recently rewatched. And when Picard and Wesley are in that scene together, I'm like, let's see if he gets it right. And yeah, he nailed it right on the point. So I'm sure that's Ronald Moore coming in and making sure he hits those facts of what happened. Wesley and Beverly and Riker all come up together on the Enterprise, and then Wesley wants to see the bridge, but Picard says, no kids on the Enterprise. And then as soon as Wesley and Beverly come up on the turbo lift, Picard's like, no kids on the bridge. It's like, and then he recognizes Beverly. It's like, oh, okay. Then then he's like nice to Wes, shows him the chair, lets him sit down. So all that was completely accurate. But in terms of this episode, yeah, everything you just said, the stuff with Boothby, Picard just ripping into Wesley, I felt like genuine fear and shame, like my own father was yelling at me. Like I felt, like little in my chair, like, oh God, as if I did something. I love the Locarno kid. I loved that guy. An idea of a guy who wants to be probably his own version of Kirk. The star, the quarterback, and all that, and does all this and gets fucking expelled. It's like shit.
Yeah, such a great guest character, and what a, for this show, rare but good example of someone who kind of plays a heel but isn't go away heat annoying. Like, you get his character the whole time. You understand why he's like this, and then even though it's off screen, in the end, he does the right thing, gets his redemption. He was telling Wesley the truth when he was like, if I was in your position, I'd do it. And at the time, I'm like, oh, easy for you to say. But no, then he actually does it when push comes to shove. And that's why he's in Starfleet Academy, just like Wes and these other kids. Do you think these other 3 kids all passed that test that Wesley failed, and then Wesley just got in through an nepotism? Do you think they all actually passed that test?
Oh, yeah, I have no probably, I don't know. But I like how he was a villain in terms of his manipulation, like how he could have been a captain that people looked up to and led, but as things went on, he maybe became like a master manipulator and ended up going down a really bad path.
Yeah. But I don't think it was necessarily on purpose. I think it was more subconscious of like he was aware of that role he had and was using it incorrectly for his own safety and for the team's safety, but I don't think he was like a malicious like
no. Like he just had
Yeah.
that cunning ability to like convince people, and like if nothing went wrong ever, everything would be fine. But if one thing like a student dying goes wrong, he's going to use what he has to
Yeah.
save his ass and everyone else.
Like I truly believe he'll probably look back on that interaction he had with Wes in the room when he's trying to convince him to lie and like be disgusted with himself. Like he doesn't come off as the guy who is just evil. I think he's gonna be like, oh, what, that was really shitty of me to do. And all of that is because he gets redemption in that last scene, even though it's off screen and we're told by Picard. It was such a great addition that they had to add that in because it could have so easily been like, oh yeah, he was expelled. That's it. So.
Yeah, and he's the villain in Star Trek Genesis or something, or Generations or something. Locarno is back. Like, what? Boothby. I want to talk about Boothby, man, and the fact that he's like almost a spitting image in terms of appearance and character to Robert is just it's just like perfect. Like no wonder Picard loved this guy. That's amazing. And that little what did Picard do to have this problem? And I love they're talking in terms of their years. Like remember the Parisi's game of 27, the party afterwards. Like oh yeah, well the one these people had was 10 times better than that. Just a little. Nuggets of information about this universe and the Academy. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I loved the little back and forth when he's like, just use an herbicide or whatever, and instead of putting it in, he's like, you could explore space in the holodeck. And then Picard just brushes past that, like doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, you won. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
He's like, damn it, Boothby, he can't win. But it's nice to see Picard have someone that he genuinely seems to looks up to, and it's just... he's a gardener at the Starfleet Academy. Like, he's just, does honest work and, is just like a genuine good guy. And even he knows right away before we figured it out. Like, he knows right away, like, oh, yeah, Locarno, is charismatic leader and they're all covering for him. And it was like, oh, he knows these kids. He knows. It's always interesting, I think, about teachers or anyone that works in a school environment, like, oh, I wonder if I ran into my third grade teacher, would they remember who I am? Because, they see kids every year. And teachers, I feel like I've heard growing up, say stuff like, oh, I remember everyone, but it's like, do you really, and it's interesting to see that. This is a gardener, not even a teacher or anything. But, yeah, nice to see.
Yeah, I remember one of our mutual teachers, I remember talking to him about it. Have you ever thought about, like, how many students you teach? If you put all those people in a room, does that ever, like, blow your mind? It's Mr. S. Remember? Yeah, one of the best teachers we ever had. He's like, oh, yeah, that's a really good point. I never thought about that. And then he, talked about McDonald's and swiping his credit card. That's one of my Boothbys right there. And I liked the mystery of finding out what this formation was, because throughout the entire thing did I ever guess what happened. There's theories about who did what, who did this, but at no point did I think, oh, for this thing they wanted to perform this grand maneuver, and that's what happened. And also a very tough scene is before we even knew what happened, and now knowing what happened, looking back, I'm like, oh god, this kid didn't even do anything wrong. When Wesley's talking to Josh's dad about, Josh's dad's like, well, he struggled with mathematics, and I guess he, couldn't keep up here. And imagine Wesley knowing, like, your kid didn't do anything wrong here. Yeah, tough stuff.
Yeah, and what is that guy from? You pointed him out.
He's one of those guys.
He looks familiar.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like, oh, you've been in stuff, but I can't remember your name.
Yeah. What I like about the reveal is that we're not going to figure out exactly what that is of like, oh, I know what happened. They were trying the hula maneuver. Like,
the cutover.
Yeah, like, we don't know what that is. But we could have put together on our own. We didn't, but we could have been like, oh, maybe they were trying to do something to show off and it went wrong. And so it's a believable answer that isn't right on the nose or right in your face the whole time. So in a way, it is a little bit of a mystery. And the way they tease it throughout the whole thing, you really don't know, like, what happened? What happened? It really strings you along. I mean, we don't got to complain about the same shit again, but other episodes don't do that a lot of the time. So it was really nice to see here. What else? I did think the little interactions with Beverly and Wes were good. I think their last one in the episode was really good, where she's trying to stick up for him, and she's like, we're going to figure out what's wrong with this information. Of course, having the confidence any mother would that her son's telling the truth, and Wesley being like, no, don't stick up for me. Like, basically telling her without telling her, I'm not being truthful. I wish we would have gotten a scene with them at the end. Like, the scene with Wesley and Picard makes sense and is nice.
Yeah.
I would have wished to have a scene with them to be like, hey, I'm disappointed in you, but like I still love you. You're still my son. Just something, because like now, he says one offhand line like, oh, I disappointed everyone, my mom. It's like by the time they see each other again, if Wesley's ever in the show again, it'll just be forgotten. So it's like we missed out on that, but that's more of just like, fan casting, not really a detriment to the episode. It's just something I would have liked to see.
Yeah, I would have liked to see one more final farewell, not farewell, but a resolution to that problem, and a goodbye Wesley again with those two. And also, I would have liked to see Geordi and Data, instead of them just standing at their stations right there, just talking about what happened. I would have liked to see a visual of them putting it together. Like, I don't know if they go into the holodeck, or maybe they have probably the holodeck, where they, like a miniature version of the ships, and they can put together that, oh no, and the whole plasma spiking thing and everything they talked about with Picard when he put together the plasma thing. I would have liked to see some sort of visual representation, as opposed to them just dialoguing it out, I guess. Just because I like when they use the holodeck for things like that. For example, Matter of Perspective, I was expecting a little something similar to that nature, but it's fine because I like Picard figuring it out and then, blasting Wesley with it later. It's just a little thing I would have liked.
And I like that it's a episode that mainly takes place at Starfleet Academy. I want to spend the time at Starfleet Academy. Like, it's fine to go back to the Enterprise and have Data and Geordi do this stuff. And like when Picard confronts Wesley, it's in his ready room. Like, that's all fine, but I did like how the bulk of the scenes, the bulk of the episode was at the Academy, because that's somewhere we're not going to get to see every episode, not going to get to see maybe ever again in this show.
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed that. Love to see the return of those uniforms as well.
Those uniforms are so nice.
Yeah.
I would fucking love one of those uniforms.
And I want to see other colors, because all of those cadets were wearing red on top. I would love to see blue.
You think the other squadrons or other, groups or maybe other grades or however they separate, they have different colors?
Maybe. I'd love to see it. And then that scene in particular, when Picard confronts Wesley after he figures it out and gives him that whole speech about your first duty, that's what really catapulted this one for me. Mm-hmm. Like, classic Picard speech. And he's not even the star of this episode, but he just, of course, hits his role out of the park and convinces Wesley, to do the right thing.
Yeah, any good Picard speech always boosts up a couple points.
I have no complaints about the episode. I mean, I said one thing I would have liked to see, but complaint-wise, also, probably Will Wheaton's best episode ever. I mean...
Yeah, finally, thank God.
From the game to this. Talk about redemption.
Talk about a redemption, too. For Will Wheaton. Yeah, finally they figured out what to do with him. A tier is the winner with 53%. S tier with 31%. B tier with 13%. C tier 2, and D&E 0.
I will say I'm a little bit surprised that they like this one this strongly. It seemed like, there's not a ton of science stuff in here or a ton of, space battle stuff. So it's much more down our alley of what we've said we've liked. So I'm a little bit pleasantly surprised. This one's from Boggle. I'm one of the 3 people that like Wesley Crusher, and this is probably the best episode of TNG that he's focused in. Hey, one of the 3 people.
That's pretty solid. This one's from Phil Ken 7. Wesley gets his ass handed to him. Picard sees through the bullshit and puts the fear of God into him. I love knocking him down a peg.
David Wayne Fox. This is generally excellent episode in which Wesley's shining halo finally gets tarnished. A tier for me. That's a good point. And we didn't really talk about the weight of all this. Picard says it at the end, like, you have a difficult time ahead. Like, Wesley's reputation will forever be tarnished by this, even if he goes on to be, even a captain at some point. Back when you were in the academy, literally being partly, I don't want to say he's the cause, but he was involved in something that led to the death of a cadet. Like, that's going to stick with you forever.
Yeah, I believe we've talked about in the past, we want him to have those hurdles and struggles, so we like him more on the other side of those. And what a fucking hurdle he's got here. So kudos, show, because after this, if he can pull himself out of the trenches here, I think people are going to like him more. As opposed to, boy genius.
I definitely respect him more as a character because he went through this and made the right decision. Now, if he doesn't speak up there, Picard said he would have said it anyway. Who knows, though, if he actually would have, or if he just said that to goat Wesley into doing it. Who knows what he would have done.
Good point. This one's from Matt Evercole. Did you notice that Wesley's room at Starfleet Academy didn't have automatic doors, just a doorknob? Goes to show that college dorms barracks are always the last to get upgraded. I didn't even notice that, no.
No, I didn't either. I want to go back and look because wasn't that a thing before we talked about, like, never seeing them open a door, look with a doorknob?
I want to say so, yeah.
Matthew McKinnon Gray. Fun fact, this is the first writing credit for future The Expanse showrunner Naren Shankar.
Oh,
wow.
There you go.
Now, interesting, because it said it was written by Ronald Moore, right? So did it have...
It said Ronald Moore
And this
yeah,
person?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Everything's always connected, man, I swear. Every time we look up actors, they're in Night Visions, and every time we look up writers, they're in other stuff we've watched. It's weird.
All right, here's one from the fans. I just don't connect with anything in this episode. RDM's leader character is a guy I wouldn't do anything he says. And Wesley only fesses up after he realizes he has no choice. This episode destroys any moral character Wesley should have. Plus, as a core drama, there should have been a hidden twist at the end, but we already simply know they are guilty. What do you think about that?
So that's a nice defector take.
Mm-hmm.
The part I'll agree with is I can understand what they're saying in terms of Wesley only fesses up after he realizes he has no choice because Picard tells him, if you don't say anything, I will. Yeah, could it have been stronger if Picard didn't do that and he purely came to it on his own? Yeah, I do think maybe that would have been a stronger character choice because it does make it seem like, well, if I don't say anything, Picard's going to anyway. So I could see that. I don't think it was necessary for a twist at the end just because it's a court drama. Because I don't think that's the point of this story. Like, the twist comes when Picard reveals what happened.
Yeah, that's twist enough.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else.
It's more about the moral lesson of, Wesley in this. But I do see what they're saying there. So I don't fully agree, although I understand the perspective. But definitely a defector, because not a lot of takes here that didn't like it. Except for, here's another one. Tyrannus fan. E! I hated what they did with Wesley. The writers argued that making a big mistake and lying about it humanized him, but here's my take. For better or worse, Wesley was Gene's surrogate on the show. Wes had the childhood Gene wanted when he was a sickly kid. Waiting until after Gene was gone to do this because they knew he'd never approve just felt dirty. I mean, that's obviously outside of show reasons, which I don't normally let affect my thoughts on any particular episode. That's just my personal preference. Like, We've had plenty of episodes before where we're like, oh man, we really love this. And they're like, the whole cast, the writers, and the director all hated making this. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't change my opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. But they made Wesley, I saw a bunch of others saying they made Wesley a human being. So what are you going to do? Wesley had the gene that Gene didn't have. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Wes had the child that Gene wanted when he was a sickly kid. Okay. I don't know. It's very similar to Triple H doing all the things he wanted to do as soon as they booted Vince McMahon out. Made the company 10 times better.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar situation. So the 365 book I was reading on ethics after we just watched that episode, of course. Ronald Moore wrote that episode, and it was like, Ronald Moore hated working on this one because of all the medical jargon, and all that. He was like, he couldn't wait to get past it. It's like, oh, of course. Like, I love this episode. It's like, but again, yeah, I'm not going to let anything like that affect my in-universe, thoughts on the show. It's fine if someone does, if Tyrannus fan, that's fine to have that reasoning, but I don't really...
I want to meet this Ronald Moore guy so we can, talk about our hate of jargon. But I don't know, that seems to be a thing in filmmaking or anything where it's like, if anything was just a horrible pain in the ass to make, sometimes the product on the other side is the diamond after the,
Yep.
After the pressure, whatever, yeah. Here's one from TKI, TZ, Take It Easy. The best opportunity they had to kill off Wesley, and they fumbled it. Still a decent episode despite that, B-tier. You really think they were they had a chance to kill it? Like,
remember, we didn't even talk about the Hook. Remember at the Hook, the beginning, she's like, there's been an accident.
Yeah, but it's like, he's not going to be dead. It's like, can you imagine if they did, though? That'd be nuts.
That would be nuts.
Instead of him going away and being successful, nope, he died.
This is from Deep Red. Having one of the best Season 5 episodes be about Wesley was not on my bingo card. But this is pretty much everything I would want from an episode that deepens Wesley's character and further builds on his surrogate son relationship with Picard. I really appreciate how the episode does not really redeem Wesley in the end, but lets us sit with his failure and Picard's sincere disappointment. A fantastic example of how the series has really begun to expose our crew's genuine flaws and failings. I 100% agree. First of all, this is only the third S I've given out this season, so it being a Wesley episode is pretty crazy, especially coming from the game, which was my only E thus far. And I agree with all those points. So yeah.
Yeah.
Through the stars, the call is clear. Season 5, we persevere. Josh and Alex chart the skies, warping forward as chaos flies. Like a scream, the battle cry. Crusher's brilliance lights the sky. Data's mind a beacon bright. TNG was a relentless spike. Shields up high, we're breaking through. Phases charged, our aim is true. Moonlight twists, the fire ignites. Boldly onward into the night. Warp factor, chaos engine scream. A voyage built on starlit dreams. The fire and flame, the cosmos bends. The Enterprise flies, the journey ascends. Warp factor, chaos hearts collide. With every love, the stars align. Boldly they go, no end in sight. Season 5 takes flight. Fanface falls to scorching critique. Virtue speeches reach their peak. Holodeck worlds in turmoil turn. Lessons taught and preaches bird. Finders gift a master's hand. The gods command the voice that stands. Through the madness one truth remains. TNG courses through our veins. Warping fast, the time is near. Stories clashes, chaos steers. Engines roar, the stars ignite. Boundless journeys, endless fight. Warp factor, chaos engines scream. A voyage built on starlit dreams. The fire and flame, the cosmos bends. The Enterprise flies, the journey ascends. Warp factor, chaos hearts collide. With every love, the stars align. Boldly they go, no end in sight. Season 5 takes flight. Warp factor, chaos engine scream. A voyage built on starlit dreams.